What do you make of the new premier, Stewart? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Todd. I think he's got his hands full. He is coming in what was expected to be a celebratory coronation-like atmosphere a few months ago, and then he found himself in an unexpected fight against Anjali Appadurai, an environmental activist here in BC, and now with Ms. Appadurai's disqualification under controversial circumstances, now he finds himself premier designate. But while he has the party behind him, the caucus is soundly behind him, I think he has some work to do to convince British Columbians that he is the person for the job.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a lot of experience, only in his mid-40s. We saw some of the plans for the first 100 days, talking about the housing issue. I mean, that's huge, particularly in the Lower Mainland, as you know very well, Stewart, but also healthcare, a number of issues that will face this new incoming premier here. Tell me about the challenges that he's gonna have on his plate.
Well, you've touched on a number of them. Housing looms over everything here, and it connects to a number of the other major challenges this government is facing. The lack of affordability, it leads to the issues with homelessness in Vancouver and some other centers around the province. It is connected not just with that, but with the sense that the province isn't really for everyone anymore, that even middle-class families, those who would normally see themselves as upwardly mobile, just can't even find a foothold in the property market if they're not already there. And so trying to make that situation a little more sustainable is job one for Mr. Eby, and he's come out and said as much. Alongside that, there are issues with regard to the health system. The healthcare system is under significant pressure, both with the overhang from COVID, but also with an ongoing poison drugs crisis here, and just a lack of accessibility for basic frontline services for families as well. And it's all these issues where the sort of back-end systemic issues are really affecting the way in which people can live their daily lives that I think this government really faces its toughest test. And I guess on top of all that, we have issues with affordability of life in general. And so people are feeling pressure from many different sides here, and Mr. Eby has to show that he can respond to all of them.
The experience that he has, as Attorney General, Minister responsible for housing, I mean, that will at least inform him on some of the major issues that are facing BC, particularly, of course, lack of affordable housing.
Absolutely. He was the minister. In some ways, he was the minister for everything, at least all the hot button issues that this government was facing prior to his competition for the leadership. And so he, in terms of policy, seems very well positioned to put forward substantive answers to address some of these challenges as well as anyone could. Where I think he has to prove himself as much as anything is on the political side of things. He was an excellent number two. He was the person that Mr. Horgan could turn to whenever he had a problem, whether it was the insurance corporation here, ICBC, was losing $1 billion a year, so he had to deal with that problem, had to deal with the money laundering issue. Again and again, he responded to the policy challenge. But now he's got to do that, but also communicate what his government is doing politically. And so far, during his leadership campaign against Ms. Appadurai, before it was ended, there was a gap there where it didn't necessarily seem like he was as outgoing and as effective at communicating politically on a day-to-day basis with British Columbians. So he's going to have to work on that, I think.
Appreciate your time as always, Stewart, and good to see you again.
Good to see you too. My pleasure.
Stewart Prest joining us from Squamish in British Columbia.